Welcome to this edition of Head to Head. I'm your host, Cam McKinney, and this is episode number 310 of the podcast. And on this episode, I'm talking about the Lakers firing head coach Darvin Ham and whether or not, if you're a head coach in the NBA, you want to coach LeBron James. The Lakers have fired head coach Darvin Ham after 2 seasons, one of which he made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, and both seasons lost to the Denver Nuggets, the team that most believe is the best in basketball. And in these 2 seasons with the Lakers, he's of course coached LeBron James, who for a majority of people, LeBron James is the second best basketball player of all time, and in some, he's the greatest. But unlike other great players, when his career comes to a close, there will not be one head coach associated with LeBron James. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant had Phil Jackson. Magic Johnson had Pat Riley. Tim Duncan had Greg Popovich. Steph Curry has Steve Kerr. Since joining the league in 2003, LeBron has played for 9 different head coaches, and part of this has to be because he's played for 3 different teams, the Cavs, Heat, and Lakers. But I think this is bigger than that. It's crazy to say this, but I believe coaching LeBron James is far from the best job in basketball, and the biggest reason is when you don't reach those sky-high expectations that are on his team. And the victims of this in the past have been David Blatt, who in his first season as coach of the Cavaliers went all the way to the NBA Finals and was fired midway in his second season when he had a 30-11 record. This was a clear example of the star player having his way and getting control of the basketball team. And this is maybe the biggest difference between today's games and yesterday's, is the star player, if he's unhappy with the head coach, gets his way. That wasn't always the case. People forget that LeBron's first head coach with the LA Lakers was Luke Walton. Now, this is an example of a guy who I believed was overhyped from the beginning. He was good coaching the Golden State Warriors because they had the best basketball team ever assembled, but he was never good as head coach of the Lakers, and he was clearly also never good coaching the Sacramento Kings. Let's talk about Darvin Ham a little. I believe Darvin Ham is a good coach who has gotten exactly what he should from this current Lakers roster. I don't look at them as a major contender. They have Anthony Davis and they have LeBron James, 2 players who miss a lot of regular season basketball. So in his each 2 seasons with the Lakers, he had to play in the play-in tournament because his stars did not play regularly during the regular season. I have no idea why the Lakers are firing Darvin Ham. Is it because Anthony Davis called him out? Is it because LeBron James is not coming to his defense? This has the feeling of the star players no longer wanting to be coached by this guy. And this has been my problem with a lot of the LeBron coaches getting fired, is it doesn't feel like a lot of it has to do with basketball related reasons. No one thought the Lakers were going to beat the Denver Nuggets. It was a 5-game series. It was a close series. The Nuggets were not destroying the Lakers. Down the stretch of these games, the Nuggets proved they were the better team, which most people believe that they are. So what's the problem here? What am I missing? Why is Darvin Ham the fall guy? Because the head coach with LeBron James teams always becomes the fall guy. That's why if I were a head coach in the NBA, my number one destination would not be coaching LeBron James, because even when you have massive success, things can go sideways. And here's the example of that. These are the coaches who have won with LeBron, and all of them, except Eric Spoelstra, have lost their jobs. Tyronn Lue won a ring with LeBron James, and then LeBron left the Cavaliers for the Lakers, and Lue was immediately let go by the Cavaliers. The most egregious firing was that of Frank Vogel, who won the NBA Finals in the bubble, and then in 2022 was let go because it didn't work out with Russell Westbrook of all people. And I don't know this for a fact, but it's impossible to believe that LeBron James was against the Lakers firing Frank Vogel. So even when you coach LeBron James and win the NBA Finals, you don't have job security. Tell me, what is the reward of being LeBron LeBron James as head coach. He gets all of the credit, and he deserves a vast majority of the credit because he's one of the best basketball players of all time. But even you winning the championship doesn't get you job security. A few years later, you can lose your job because LeBron James changes his mind about you. So some of you might be listening to this podcast and saying that the names I've given you is not that super impressive. And that's true. I mean, he's been coached by Mike Brown, Frank Vogel, and Tyronn Lue, who are really good head coaches. They're not great ones. But then that gets us to this question. Does LeBron James want to be coached by a great NBA head coach? Does he want to be coached by someone like Greg Popovich, who is an equal face of the organization as LeBron James himself? And I think the answer is clearly no. LeBron James wants to be the face of the LA Lakers for as long as he's on the LA Lakers. He doesn't want this super impressive head coach who's won numerous amounts of championships and is the clear dictator of the LA Lakers. In fact, I believe he left the Miami Heat because he was sick of Pat Riley being the face of the operation. I think that became part of the problem for LeBron James. I believe LeBron James wants to be a more powerful figure than his current head coach. That's what I believe, and I think that's going to remain the case, and I believe that's part of the problem because that's going to limit the candidates who are going to want this job. I mean, how many people want to be a LeBron James stooge? I believe the number is shrinking by the day, especially at this current point in his career. The Lakers have to give the job to somebody who's going to be there longer than LeBron James. They can no longer give LeBron what he wants. But now LeBron is in the situation where he might opt out and force the Lakers to hire whoever he wants to be their head coach. And if I am somebody who is not an already established head coach, I would not want that Lakers job. I know there's rumors out there that JJ Redick is a candidate to be the Lakers' next head coach. That would go really bad. I think that would end in disaster. That would be like when Steve Nash was coaching Brooklyn. That's not what you want. JJ Redick, I think he's a good basketball mind. I think he's really good on TV. He is not ready to coach a team with big expectations like the Lakers, who have Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And part of the reason I feel this way is because I don't believe a coaching candidate is going to change the current Lakers situation. I think they have a roster problem, not a coaching problem. And the problem with the Lakers roster is they don't have a star player guaranteed to play 75 plus games. LeBron James played his most games in some time this current season, and the Lakers were barely in the play-in tournament. They need to pair LeBron James with another superstar player who is going to play 70 plus games. That's why I believe the Lakers should be doing everything in their power to get Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks. I know some people are down on Trae Young, but if I pair Trae Young with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, there has to be upside there. I know there is. This guy plays really well in the postseason. Trae Young was killing the Knicks a few years ago, and we were all super high on him. Do I want Trae Young to be my lone superstar anymore? Probably not, but paired with LeBron James, I'd feel really good about him. And the other reason the Lakers have to go for a star like that, so that there can be a light at the end of the LeBron James tunnel, because he isn't going to be in the NBA for the next 5 seasons. You need to think about life after LeBron. So Trae Young fixes your short-term problems and solves your long-term problem. You need a star player after LeBron James, and Trae Young is the ideal candidate. He's a flashy point guard. He gets a lot of assists, and he shoots the lights out from free. What is the downside? That he doesn't play defense? So don't 99.9% of NBA superstars. Getting back to the Lakers coaching situation, of all the names I've heard linked to the Lakers job, the one that intrigues me the most is Mike Budenholzer. This is a guy who wins 50-plus regular season games in his sleep. He's won an NBA championship with the Bucks. He's coached stars. The Lakers need to avoid the play-in. This is a guy who can help them do just that. I don't know if LeBron wants to be be coached by someone with that kind of pedigree, but it's the coach that the Lakers need. They need a guy who will help them make the first round of the NBA playoffs, not a guy who's just going to get them to the NBA play-in tournament. So I'm going to answer a question that's been asked a million times over the last 20 seasons. Is LeBron James a coach killer? I say yes. But does it impact his legacy in any meaningful way? Absolutely not. I'm just saying if I were an NBA coach, I'd have to think about coaching a team with him on it. They don't last more than 5 years, and a lot of them get canned after 2. The job security just isn't there being LeBron James's head coach. And deep down, I think he loves it this way. I think he loves the fact that the regular seasons with his teams are up and down roller coasters, and then it's just wait and see what happens in the playoffs. I believe LeBron James loves that. I don't think he wants to be on a 65-win team powerhouse. He loved it back when the Cavaliers would have these up and down roller coasters and then make it to the NBA Finals. That's the type of team that LeBron James wants to be on. I think he loved last season where the Lakers were in the play-in tournament and then made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think he's interested in being in a dominant regular season team. He wants to be in a team that's entertaining, that people talk about during the regular season, and then get their act together during the postseason and make it to the NBA Finals. For him, that's part of being the center of attention. Oh, look, we're talking about the Lakers because the Lakers are fascinating. Are they good at basketball or are they washed up? I think he loves all that. I don't think LeBron James wants to go to the Golden State Warriors and pair up with Steph Curry and win 65 ball games next season, because I think he believes that would be boring and wouldn't be that interesting other than can these two play together. I think he loves are the Lakers are a mess this season or are they one of the best teams in basketball talks. And one of the biggest reasons why I believe he's going to remain a member of the LA Lakers till the end of his career, because I believe they are one of the only organizations that will let him do this to them. They are the ones who will give him full power. The Golden State Warriors aren't going to give him full power. The Cleveland Cavaliers currently aren't going to give him full power. The Lakers are desperate for a superstar player like LeBron James, so they are going to do everything he wants to do, whether it's drafting his son, bringing in star players he wants to play with, hiring the coach he wants to be coached by. The Lakers are going to give LeBron James every single thing he wants, the amount of money he wants, and everything that goes with that. And it is really interesting to see what's happening at the end of LeBron James's career, because it's kind of reminiscent of what the Lakers did with Kobe Bryant. The Lakers gave Kobe Bryant $50 million, and people were talking about that all of the time. Are the Lakers now overpaying Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant is no longer that same guy? They're no longer winning at that same rate. Is this a massive mistake that the Lakers are doing? Is it hurting the young players around him? And LeBron is avoiding some of that talk because last season they made it to the Western Conference Finals, and this season they at least made it to the playoffs. But you could have a similar conversation about LeBron James. Is it in the Lakers' best interest for LeBron James to continue to be the face of the organization? I believe the LeBron James-Lakers marriage, for the most part, has worked out. He won the NBA Finals there. He's made them culturally relevant again. He's made it to another Western Conference Finals. He brought in Anthony Davis. But at what point do you go, we have to think about the future, not about what LeBron James wants? And that includes who's going to be the next head coach of the LA Lakers. If they do in fact hire JJ Redick, that would prove to me that LeBron James still has the strongest voice in the room. And that's not necessarily a good thing if you're a Lakers fan, because that means you're going all in the next 2 to 3 seasons where you're probably not going to be the best team in basketball. And it's going to be about JJ Redick and drafting LeBron James' son. And I don't think that's a future you want to go down if you're the Lakers. That's a whole nother thing I haven't even gotten into yet. What if you're the next head coach of the LA Lakers and the Lakers draft LeBron James' son and he's not very good? Are you going to be forced as the new head coach to play his son because LeBron James is also there, that's going to be a sticky situation. I mean, that's like Doc Rivers, Austin Rivers type of situation. A type of situation that an established head coach is going to want no part of, and a rookie head coach is not going to want to do that either, but is going to be forced to because LeBron James is basically his boss. And since LeBron left the Cavaliers the first time, he's always kind of had that dynamic with whomever his head coach was. That's why I'm looking at this and going, why would I want to coach LeBron James, especially at this point in his basketball career? I'm going to be coaching a team that no matter how good it is on paper, is going to have these skyrocket expectations that at any point I can make the NBA Finals because I have LeBron James on the roster. And I feel like we're learning that isn't the case anymore. There are teams out there like Denver, like Minnesota, like OKC that are far better than the Lakers, and that LeBron James can't just overpower them anymore like he could in his early 30s. This isn't the LeBron James that made it to the NBA Finals 8 years in a row anymore. This is a LeBron James that is struggling to make the play-in tournament. I would absolutely love to see LeBron be coached by someone who is on equal footing with him, but there aren't that many head coaches out there anymore like that. Greg Popovich isn't coming to coach the LA Lakers. A reunion with Miami and Eric Spoelstra, now that would be fascinating. I would love to see that because when Eric Spoelstra coached LeBron, he was a young coach who wasn't getting any of the credit. Now he's viewed as arguably the best coach in basketball and is, by the way, the highest paid coach in the NBA. So LeBron would be dealing with somebody who is on equally footing, especially within the Miami Heat organization. And I just don't know if LeBron James wants to be coached by someone like that, who the organization thinks just as highly as him as they do LeBron James. And I don't want this podcast to come off as just a knock against LeBron James. I feel the same way about so many NBA superstars, and I think the one I feel equally this way about is Kevin Durant. I wouldn't want to coach Kevin Durant at this point in his career because he handpicked a young, inexperienced coach in Steve Nash and let him out to dry, didn't take any accountability for what's going on. He's seemingly doing the same thing with Frank Vogel, who's probably going to lose his job with the Phoenix Suns. LeBron and Durant are terrific basketball players. They are all-time basketball players. I just don't always agree with how they deal with whomever their head coach is. I don't think that's the way to go. I think Kevin Durant should have stayed with the Golden State Warriors and stayed being coached by Steve Kerr. I think that was a good fit. He was playing with Steph Curry. He was playing with Klay Thompson. He was being coached by someone who I believe was challenging him and was on his level. I think superstar players in the NBA should align themselves with a head coach. Look at what's happening with Denver. Nikola Jokic is the best player in basketball, and he's being coached by one of the best coaches in the league, Mike Malone. And they have been together for a while now. Now they've won an NBA championship. They definitely have a chance of repeating. I don't think you want the title of being a coach killer. And at the top of that list right now are LeBron James and Kevin Durant. Every single time these two change head coaches, we all raise our eyebrows and go, oh, we're going through this song and dance again, even though it's never rarely the coach's fault. Like, I don't think Darvin Ham is the problem with the LA Lakers. The roster was the problem all along, but we had to pick on Darvin Ham because he's the coach. He's not the star player. He's not Anthony Davis. He's not LeBron James, so he's the guy we have to blame. I just wonder if LeBron himself will ever get sick and tired of this game. I mean, how many more head coaches are going to coach LeBron James for the rest of his career? Like, do we believe that LeBron James is going to have only one more head coach in his NBA career? Because I don't. I think this is going to happen at least 2 more times in his career. I just kind of wanted to stop because I like LeBron James as a player a lot. I believe he's one of the 5 best basketball players of all time. I just don't want every single time I talk about him to be because he's going to be coached by another head coach. I want to talk about the fact that he's playing an extraordinary level of basketball at the latter stage of his career. That's what we should be talking about, not who his next head coach is going to be, not if JJ Redick is going to go from analyst to coach. That's interesting, but not at this point in his career. I want LeBron James to have one more more dynamic run and make it back to the NBA Finals. I hope for his sake that him and the Lakers pick the right guy to be their next head coach. Because if they don't, I'll be having this same similar type of podcast 2 years from now. And yes, Rob Pelinka deserves to be on blast, but this has been a pattern throughout LeBron James's career. He has always had, in my opinion, a weird dynamic with his head coach, and I think it needs to stop. Thanks for listening to this edition of Head to Head. I'm Cam McKinney, and there'll be a new episode of the podcast every Monday on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so please rate, review, and subscribe.